Super Rugby Friday games, folks. 2 games on. Crusaders, Blues, Rebels, and Reds. I'm a pretty happy chappy, I'm going to admit, because my Blues got the first win down at Christchurch since 2004. But anyway, before I go to bed, we're going to have some stats, some key events, and upcoming fixtures. You guys can let me know your thoughts. I'll try not to wake my kids up. First game, Blues getting a win down at Christchurch. As I mentioned, first time since 2004. I feel like we didn't play that well at the start and we didn't play that well at the end. But we played well enough in the middle, and a couple of cards to the Crusaders didn't do their cause any favours. They actually mucked up at the start, the Crusaders, when they had the Blues under a heap of pressure. They didn't score any tries. They got done for obstruction when they decided not to go for threes. So looking back at this match, this is that kind of thing. We always look back at the end, but you've also got to look at the start. Crusaders, when the Blues were just looking rattled, didn't manage to get any points. Obstruction in the Blues 22. Blues get kind of a free get out of jail. Then they go down the other end on like 10 minutes and get 3 points on the board. I mean, the Crusaders did take the lead back not long later. Will Jordan gets his try. Of course he does. Crusaders with a nice set-piece move. Blues can only touch his jersey as he goes on by. Havili with the sweet pass to set that one up. He's a really hard man to stop, as Will Jordan, and Havili does have some distribution skills. Even though he's a bit of a divisive figure over here in New Zealand, my dad was saying he doesn't like him at All Blacks level. But, I mean, that was a pretty sweet pass. So, yeah, Crusaders go in front. But then the Blues kind of wake up. Here's where we wake up. Bodie gets a line break, sets up a good attacking move, which Finlay Christie finishes off from close range. So, Blues back in front. And then the Blues take a lead, a decent lead, with Papali'i down the blind side, gives Mo'unga and Bryn Hall a bit of a sit down. So, happy days if you're a Blues fan. They are up by 10 points. And then it gets worse for the Crusaders because Havili gets yellow carded for what the ref determined to be a bit of a cynical play on the ground. Stripping the ball off Perifeta when he'd just tackled him without getting back to his feet. So, yeah, Crusaders, man down on the scoreboard, and the Blues with a chance to kick a penalty to make it a 13-point lead going into the Sheds, but they missed that one. So 10-point lead, which still, if you'd given it to Blues fans before the start of the game, I think they would have, bit your hand off, basically. So, yeah, second half, of course the Crusaders are able to score a penalty during the yellow card because... they would have had a word in the Sheds and they came out of the blocks firing. But then to kind of stifle their momentum, Scotty Barrett, man, red card. Shoulder to the head of Alex Hodgman. And that one's a red all day long. My dad didn't like it because he never likes red cards that he doesn't think are kind of egregious ones. It's like tip tackles and stuff like that he's more willing to see as red cards because he was here watching it with me and Mum. But honestly, man, shoulder to the head these days is 9 times out of 10 going to be red unless you're severely, like the guy's dropping or, you've somehow dipped and it's just like incidental and it's a lot of mitigation, but there's none, man. They're both pretty upright. So, yeah, not a good look from Scotty Barrett. So 15v13 and wouldn't the Blues punish with a maul try. Eklund. And the Blues all of a sudden are leading 24-10. And it's like they don't know what to do. Because from here on, the Blues stop playing. They just start kicking everything. They don't want to play any rugby. It is bizarre. Why you would want to kick the Crusaders, of all teams, that much ball, I honestly can't understand. It's like they figure, well, we've got a 24-10 lead. Why don't we just hang on to it and only play we're in the Crusaders' half? Well, if you just keep kicking in the ball, if you're not going to kick the old 50-22s, because Mo'unga gets a peach of a one, it's like the Blues were going for them, but they just kept making a few errors. And then the Crusaders, man, you can't give them that kind of ball. Matera's pass sets up Reese out wide for their first one. They missed the conversion, which given this game is actually kind of crucial. And then they kick a penalty. The Blues reply with a penalty. Will Jordan, line break, goes through some phases, sets up Reese again. So Reese gets 2 out wide. And it's suddenly, man, it's game on. It's 27-23. Reese's one was maybe a little bit dodgy with him kind of bobbling the ball in the build-up, but the ref gives that one. So, I can live with that. I tend to give the benefit of the doubt to the attacking team. So there you go, 27-23. Crusaders keep attacking because the Blues aren't playing any rugby, like I mentioned, and they do manage after like 10 faces to work that space to that Sever-Reece gap again. But Sever-Reece isn't the guy out there. It's that number 19, what's his name, Gardner? The big lock replacement. He's got the same space that Reece had for his first try, but he's not Sever-Reece, and he can't get over the line. Rico with the tackle to put him into touch, so that's an absolute try saver for the Blues because, I don't know, like they got the Reece try when they had a man down. Like, they're so good at making that space. But yeah, somehow the Blues, under immense pressure from the Crusaders at the end, managed to hold on to this one. Like, honestly, we didn't play at the end. We didn't play well at the start, but in the middle, they did enough. And it's just a couple of conversions that are the difference at the end of the day in this one. So, yeah, really good game. Run meters 451 to 372 in favour of the Crusaders. The Crusaders have got more possession, 57%. Probably helps if the Blues keep kicking the bloody ball at you. More territory. Blues have got more kicks from hand, obviously, but only by 3. Penalties considered as 9 to 4, so that's pretty low. Will Jordan, man, 7 defenders beaten, 3 clean breaks, 134 run meters. He's a weapon. Christie, 18 from 18 tackles, no surprise. But really pleasing for the Blues. Papali'i, 21 out of 21 tackles, 6 defenders beaten, 2 clean breaks. Gets a try. Not too bad. Happy days. So, yeah, I think the Crusaders will be a little bit disappointed they couldn't capitalise on the early pressure they had. And they'll be pretty gutted with Scott's red card, which was kind of a self-inflicted wound. But they'll be certainly pleased with the way they fought back from that deficit and almost got it at the end, man. So even with a man down or 2 men down, they still look the business. So, yep, they're going to be a big threat. I don't think any Blues fans, at least in this household, are getting too far ahead of themselves. But still, we will certainly enjoy the rare win down in Christchurch. The Crusaders have got the Rebels next week in the Super Week over in Melbourne, and the Blues have got the Drua, so it'll be interesting to see how both those sides go. Next game, Rebels and Reds, was also a bit of a cracker. The Rebels did alright. The Rebels are definitely tracking well. They've been tracking poorly for like the first 2 or 3 weeks, and they are certainly turning a corner. The fact that they can get the Reds within 4 points speaks to a bit of that, although to hear the Reds speak at the end of the game, they were really disappointed with their performance levels in this one. And honestly, if you're a Rebels fan, a couple of these tries were like 14-pointers, and that the Rebels were building, probably could have scored a try of their own and ended up conceding. It was really, really quite strange. Reds got the first penalty. Hodgie missed his first shot. Pataya, nice line break, no support. He goes off injured in the halftime break, but Brad Thorne said it was probably just precautionary, so hopefully he's all good. And then, yeah, try time for the Reds. Vest ends up getting that one. James O'Connell with a nice little kick through. In the first half is a bit of a try-fest, man. Vest gets that first one, like I mentioned, and then the McDermott one is one of the 14-pointers. Seriously, because the Rebels are on the attack. They got a line break, they got offloads going, and then the Reds get turnover ball. I think it was McCrate. And then suddenly McCrate passes it to Wilson. Wilson gets it to McDermott, and McDermott's gone. Boomfa. They are down the other end. Rebels are wondering what on earth's just happened. Dalgunu did get yellow carded for a kind of shoulder to the head of Reece Hodge. So that was an opportunity for the Rebels to punish, and they did. They got one through Hardwick in reply, but then Crichton gets one. And it's another kind of 14-pointer because they're under the pump. They got the man down. He goes for the one-handed intercept as Crichton out wide. And those things are lethal these days, right? You muck that up, you're gone. You're gone to the bin. And if you do that when they've got another man outside, it's a penalty try. But he catches it. He actually manages to catch it. Goes length of the field, shows some real will. So 24-10. The Rebels even managed, though, one before halftime. So it is a proper try-fest in that first half. Second half, it's a bit tighter. The Rebels' defence has to hold for a pretty big period because, remember, they're down 24-15, so they're not dead and buried. The Reds knock on, actually, from a little kick-through from the Rebels. That one led to the Rebels' next try. So sometimes it's those little mistakes that can really cost you. Matt Phillip gets one, actually puts the Rebels in front for a very short time because the Phillip tries on 63, then Tupou and Fluke both get tries. Tupou's gap was just massive. Tate McDermott passes it to him, I mean, Tupou's a big unit, but he just found there was like just a hole right next to the ruck. So, yeah, the Rebels would be pretty disappointed that they conceded as quick as they did. And then it's just coast to coast for the next one from kind of a poor kick play and a bit of loose ball. So, yeah, the Rebels, I think, did say in the post-match that some length of the field tries really cost them, and they are legit correct in that statement. So, yeah, they did manage to get the bonus point, losing, though. Bonus point at the death did the Rebels with Elof's try from close range. So, 36-32, they were chasing the game at the end, but a little bit too little too late. They'll certainly be disappointed with some of those tries they conceded, the Rebels. But, yeah, the general feeling from the post-match with the Reds guys was that they're pretty gutted with their performance levels and know they'll have to lift against the Kiwi teams next week. The possession and territory is a split. The Rebels have the possession, the Reds have the territory. The Reds have got the run meters, but it helps when you can clock up kind of 80 run meters for one try. That's 524 to the Reds, 374 to the Rebels. Clean breaks 7-2 to the Reds. That's another kind of key factor. Some of those gaps were just too big. Phillip, 5 defenders beaten in the clean break plus his try. Not a bad shift for Big Matt. And for the Reds, man, Crichton with that intercept ends up with 83 run meters. Stewart, always kind of forgotten man in that Reds backline, at least in terms of the conversation about his shift. 14 out of 15 tackles. Really good effort. The Reds have got the Hurricanes. Remember, all the games are in Melbourne next week. And the Rebels have got the Crusaders. So that's your reward for pushing the Reds all the way. Another angry team in red. So there you go. Anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. I'm going to head off to bed. A happy Blues chappy. It really was a good game. And so was the second one. So pretty pleasing stuff. Hopefully the Super Rugby ratings are a wee bit higher after that one. But anyway, you guys have any thoughts? And I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.